Today we're going to start off with chapter number 9, which is Introduction to Economic Fluctuations. For this particular chapter, I'm going to make use of PowerPoint slides. अगर आप टॉपिक को ज़रा गौर से देखें तो आपको अंदाज़ा हो जाना चाहिए कि in this particular chapter we're going to study about short-term economic fluctuations. We're going to study about what are these economic fluctuations, what causes these fluctuations, and what can the government do to reduce these fluctuations in the economy. Economic fluctuations जो है ना, they induce uncertainty in the economy. So that is why government की intervention यहाँ बनती है, so that they can stabilize the economy or so that they can reduce the economic fluctuations in the economy. So in this particular chapter, first of all, I'm going to re-emphasize the difference between the short run and the long run. Macroeconomics में short run और long run की distinction समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है. और उसके बाद जो है ना, we're going to develop a model for aggregate demand, and then we're going to independently develop the aggregate supply model. और आप ये देखेंगे कि aggregate supply का model जो है ना, it looks different in the short run versus in the long run. And in the end, I'm going to combine the two together. I'm going to combine aggregate supply and aggregate demand together, so that I can analyze the short-run and long-run effects of shocks in the economy. So just as a quick summary, what we're going to do is I'm going to independently develop the aggregate demand model. उसके बाद मैं aggregate supply का model develop करूँगी. आखिर में I'm going to combine the two models together to help understand what causes economic fluctuations in the economy and what can the government do to reduce such fluctuations. So in the next slide, you can see the real GDP growth rate in US for the year 1960 all the way to 2004. यहाँ GDP growth rates calculate हुई हैं. आपको याद होना चाहिए growth rates are always calculated in percentage form. So as long as GDP growth rate is positive, that means GDP is increasing in the economy. When GDP is negative, when GDP growth rate is negative, that means that GDP is declining in the economy, or the economy is experiencing economic recession. Growth rate निकालने का तरीका ये है कि it's going to be GDP in the current year minus the GDP in the previous year divided by the GDP in the previous year. तो आप अगर नोट करें, let's take this to be the focal point है. आप देख सकते हैं इस साल GDP हमारी जो है ना, it's around 2%, and in the next year it increases to around 8%. So that means GDP increase दोनों साल में हुई है, लेकिन from the previous year to this year, the rate of increase in GDP has also gone up. अगर GDP negative है, जैसा आप देख सकते हैं, अगर GDP growth rate negative है, जो कि आप देख सकते हैं यहाँ है, this means that we are experiencing a recession in the economy. Similarly, अगर आप इस पीरियड में नोट करें, आप देख सकते हैं इस साल GDP is around, it's actually more than 15%, and in the next year it falls to let's suppose 2%. तो इन दो सालों में, मतलब इस एक साल के दरमियान आप देख सकते हैं कि GDP पॉजिटिव है, लेकिन the growth rate, the rate of increase in GDP, that has slowed down. So मतलब कि here in both the periods the economy is experiencing economic boom. GDP positive है दोनों सालों में, लेकिन it's just कि the growth rate of GDP has actually decreased. So what you can see from this diagram is that there's a lot of short-run fluctuations in the economy. There are periods where GDP growth rate is increasing, then there are periods when it's declining, and then there's a period when GDP growth rate is negative. If I fit in a trend line through this figure, आप देख सकते हैं the average growth rate is around 3.4%, और इस average के around आप देख सकते हैं बहुत ज़्यादा fluctuations हैं. So इस particular chapter में I'm going to explain what results in these short-term fluctuations in the economy. Government क्या कर सकती है then to reduce these fluctuations in the economy.